do you actually trust that this coaching staff is going to be here for the foreseeable future, bro? And I have to ask this question. Talking Dolphins, man. Mike McDaniel's is on the hot seat. Quinn Ewers works if Mike McDaniel's is here, but there's no guarantee that he's going to be here. So, what are your thoughts on that, Rod?
Well, here's the thing, Herbie, right? There have been reports that veteran players, like part of the reason why Jalen Ramsey wants to skedaddle is because reportedly he can't stand the head coach. He can't stand Mike McDaniel. So when you look at, and they're saying that other veteran players, guys who have left his team, guys like Armstead, and you don't know how true these things are, Herbie, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
I am a big believer in that where there's smoke, there's fire. You understand what I'm saying? And I like certain things about Mike McDaniel. In terms of coaches that I've seen in my lifetime as a Fins fan, he's definitely the most creative. He's definitely been the most productive as an offensive play caller. And he's a young coach, Herbie. He's probably one of the youngest head coaches in the NFL. He has tons of room to grow. The problem is that sometimes when you're the first stop for a guy, sometimes these guys they try at a location, they fail, and then they get another chance, and they're much better. And maybe we were just the first chapter in Mike McDaniel's career, like kind of like how Dick Vermeil. He didn't have success initially, and then he went to I think he was the head coach for the Eagles, and then next thing you know, he ended up on the Rams winning a Super Bowl, right? It's just one of those things to where I hope it doesn't turn out that way. But this Herbie is opportunity, right? And the Dolphins, to me, I have no faith in this team, Herbie, just because of years and years of hurt and pain. But in terms of the moves that they're making, objectively speaking, they're moving in the right direction. Because if there's any way that you can get the most out of this offense, Herbie, is just to make sure you beef up the trenches. You know what I'm saying? And on the defensive side of the ball, we're gonna get Chubb back if he doesn't end up being one of the June designation cuts. We have Jalen Phillips returning from injury. Chop Robinson was one of the standout rookies last year. You have Zach Sealer. You add Kenneth Grant next to a beast like Zach Sealer. The Dolphins' defensive line, our front seven is going to have to be the strength of our team because maybe we end up picking up a guy like Asante Samuel Jr. sometime before training camp. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but our secondary is definitely in dire straits at the moment, right? If we end up trading Ramsey's still on the roster, maybe they don't trade Ramsey before the season starts. We don't really know, but in regards to where the Dolphins are going with Mike McDaniel, Herbie, um, it's hard to really say, man, because there are players who have vouched for him. Obviously, Tua and him have a really great relationship, and you need your head coach and your quarterback to kind of be in lockstep. But this is his chance, Herbie. This season coming up, Mike McDaniel has a chance to change the narrative. He has a chance to alter people's perception of not just himself, but of the Dolphins as a team. Since he's been the coach, Herbie, people have just called the Dolphins a soft, finesse team, and we have proven basically that's what we are, right? When the going has gotten tough for the Miami Dolphins, the Dolphins tend to fold. And a lot of that falls on the head coach too. A lot of it falls on their personality, right? But you look at the moves that the Dolphins are making, the Dolphins have in between free agency, in between the draft, we've gotten guys who have toughness. We've picked up guys who have a nastiness to them. And the Dolphins are trying to change that perception. The Dolphins are trying to change the culture, change the identity. We don't want to be a finesse team anymore because being a finesse team doesn't win you championships. It just doesn't. You know what I'm saying? You need to be a team that come January, come December, you can pound a rock, you can play good defense, and your quarterback can make plays for you when he needs to.
Can
And
I make a
hopefully,
point real in
go ahead, go
regards
ahead, go
to?
ahead.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, and you brought up a good point to the point that I want to make, which is maybe this isn't Mike McDaniel's ultimate spot, right? Like most famously, spoiler alert, Bill Belichick was with the
The Jets.
Browns and the
Oh, the
Jets.
Browns. Yeah, yeah.
And then he became Bill Belichick, right? But I think Mike McDaniel suffered from one thing. Mike McDaniels wanted to be a new school coach. And I think what's happening is a lot of people, and we talked about it with the draft, and this applies to Mike McDaniel too. The NFL has worked for 70 years for a reason, with a certain way. The shit is tried and true. Like, we want to talk about the NFL is a passing league and whatnot. What happened? People realize, oh, you need to run the ball to win the fucking championship. Oh, you need to have a strong offensive line to win a championship. Oh, you need to have a strong D line to win a championship. I don't know. That's been the fucking recipe for God knows how long. Like, and I think it happens with coaching too. Mike McDaniel's wanted to be a new school coach, wanted to be more lax, wanted to be more chill, wanted to be more relatable. No, dog. You gotta make sure these dudes know who's really in charge, bro. Bless me. Not saying that you gotta be a dictator, but you can't allow people multiple times to just show up late. That's a respect thing, dog. Like that was one of the things where I'm just like, he has multiple players coming in late all the time. You're not in control of your house at that point, bro. Like, just go be an offensive coordinator then at that point, dog.
Right.
Like, it's not all about just designing cool plays and scoring points. That's what an offensive coordinator does. That's their job. You're a head coach. You are a leader of men, whatever. But more importantly, you are somebody who is supposed to manage 52 individuals. Maybe you're better suited for being an offensive coordinator because somebody got to put the. I've never heard Jalen Ramsey say he hates a coach. He said he hated Tom Coughlin, but he didn't hate the coach. like when the guys who historically are cool don't like you, then you doing something, bro. What's going on? Like, where's this disconnect, dog? I just find that to be fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. What do you think about that point of view?
I mean, shit, Herb. I mean, how do I put it, man? I had a thought in my head, and then I kind of just lost my train of thought. Maybe the
Man, it
beer,
happens. It happens to the best of us, dog. You know,
the beers are catching up.
the tequila is getting to me too, man. I ain't gonna hold you. The tequila is getting to me too.
But look, man. Especially when it comes to Mike McDaniel, Herbie, I think ultimately, right, like you said, like we've never heard of Jalen Ramsey kind of throwing a coach under the bus, right? Like this, I think maybe they said that he might not have gotten along with Fangio, but we found out that Fangio was probably someone with the Dolphins could have really used, right? Maybe could have listened to him more.
But that goes back to what I was saying. There's a reason why Fangio didn't like what was going on because it's like y'all don't. You set a culture. You're a culture setter, right? So if I'm a lax coach, but my defensive coordinator is a hard ass, my players are gonna say, "Man, why you being so hard, bro? We cool, bro. The real boss, he cool. So why you tripping?" And Vic Fangio said, "Man, get me the fuck away from all of this. I want to go to a serious organization that's trying to win, bro, and just put on one of the greatest defensive performances we've ever seen in the playoffs." So,
well, I mean, listen, Herbie, it goes to the point that you're making, right? Mike McDaniel, when he came into the Miami Dolphins, he came off as a player's coach. And I don't think there's actually any issue with a guy being a player's coach, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
Herbie,
Sean McVay is the ultimate players coach. It's not an issue at all. And his,
which is
his
where
teams
Ramsey
love
came
him.
from, right?
Yeah.
Ramsey came from that. But at the end of the day, Herbie, just like in relationships in real life, just like in life in general, you need boundaries. You could be the player's coach, but the players also have to respect you too. And I think Mike McDaniel, maybe he never really got that respect from the players. They might have respected his knowledge in terms of creativity, his knowledge in terms of innovation and X's and O's, but they never respected him as the man. They never looked up to him as you're our leader, you're our commander in chief, which is what a team has to look at their coach that way in order to follow the culture, in order for things to work. Yeah, you might have certain guys that follow the coach, right? Like maybe the quarterback and the offense and whoever. But there will always be other people on the team who, if they don't respect the coach, you'll never get the team to its full potential. And I think the problem that Mike McDaniel has, Herbie, is that he's been too friendly. He's been too much of a player's coach, right? And at the end of the day, Herbie, and this happens in football and this happens in real life, you need a little bit of push and pull. It can't always be all good and it can't always be all bad. You need a balance. And I think the problem that Mike McDaniel has is that he doesn't have that balance as a head coach to where he penalizes players enough, or if people don't take you seriously, Herbie, at the end of the day, you're not doing enough, right? You're not doing enough for them to take you seriously, and you're the head coach. They have to take you the most seriously of all, right? Like you're the guy that they are going to battle for. So
Yeah, for sure.
To your point, Herbie, Mike McDaniel, I don't know. Listen, I see the kind of players that we're drafting. So at least in terms of player philosophy, there's a culture change. But if the culture change doesn't start at the top, what are we really doing? Right?
What are we really doing, man?